The whole goal here is to give you some images to allow you to make a decision for yourself as how quickly you think these shoes are wearing. And today we have a wear review, not a gear review, but a wear review. We are going to be looking at what is the wear like after 150 miles on not one, but two pairs of the Hoka Speedgoat 4. So, to answer the where on the shoes, we have to answer three questions, which is the who, the how, and the what. Who is using the shoe? How is the shoe being used, and where is it being used? And then what? What is the damage like? How is the upper holding up? How are the insoles holding up? How are the outsoles holding up? And so we are going to look at two pair of Hokas. We have one shoe here, and this is about 156 miles, and this one has about 157 miles. So it's about 150-mile wear review on these shoes. And so we're going to be looking at them from the inside out. And so as for the who, we have myself as the user. I'm doing mainly a mix of hiking and running. This shoe, the orange and black shoe, has been used largely for running, and the blue and yellow shoe has been used largely for hiking. So I'm a heavier runner. The average weight when I'm using these shoes is about 205, so definitely heavier runner. And how about the how? Well, we already mentioned that this shoe is being used mainly for running, whereas this shoe is being used largely for hiking. And all of that, or virtually all of that, is being done on the Appalachian Trail. I think all but 10 miles on these shoes has been done on the Appalachian Trail in New York. And the Appalachian Trail in New York is a challenging environment. It's got lots of roots, it's got lots of rocks, it's got all sorts of challenges that you could possibly want to put a shoe through. That's the who and the how. Now let's go into the what. So we're going to look at this from the inside out. So first we're going to look at the insoles. So not many people talk about the insoles, but of course it provides an important aspect for the cushioning. And the Speedgoat has an insole very much like the Clifton 7. It's very thick, very absorbent, shock absorbent material. And so after 150 miles, these are doing really pretty well. It's hard for me to estimate how much rebound is still left in these, as I don't have a fresh set of insoles with me. But if I had to guess, I'd say approximately 50 to 75% of the rebound is still left in these insoles. And then we can take a look at the uppers. The uppers are in really great shape. Again, these shoes have gone through lots of rocks. They've scraped lots of rocks. They've had a challenging time in their 150 miles of life. And the uppers have done really quite well. So if we look at the ones used largely for running, we have really an upper that seems really in quite good shape. You can take a look at that. Just give you an idea of all the angles. The idea here, of course, is to let you see and draw conclusions for yourself about how well the wear is. So don't listen to what I say, listen to what your eyes tell you. But for me, that looks like a pretty good wear on that shoe. On the other shoe, we've got a little more wear. Here on the inside, we have a little scuffing there. This is the inside, a couple marks there. On the outside, we've got another little scuff around there. But this really seems quite minor in my experience to how shoes have held up. So again, the uppers, I think are really doing really quite well. As for the upper pair, these seem to have done even a little better with respect to the uppers themselves. Really can't find much wear on them. You can see the uppers really look to be in a really good condition, other than a couple, some dirt and some salt stains. The uppers really, I think, are quite impressive in this model. Historically, I've gone through uppers really pretty rapidly, so I've been really personally pleased about how these have held up. And as for the toe cap, usually I beat this up pretty badly. There are a lot of rocks, of course, on the Appalachian Trail, and a lot of what I call land sharks. Land sharks are those rocks or roots that you don't even see until you pick yourself off the ground, look behind you, and see the thing that took you down. That seems to be coming off a little bit on the right shoe of the hikers. The left shoe doesn't seem really quite as bad. In fact, it's on there really quite well. I think you can see. And the runners have really been the best that I think I've seen in the wear of the toe cap. Previously, I've really pulled the toe cap off pretty soon, but these don't have any repairs to them. I haven't glued anything back. This is exactly as they are without any treatment whatsoever. So that's been pretty pleasing. Okay, so now we can really get into the midsole. And as for the cushioning the midsole, I'm really not going to provide much of an estimate. It's really difficult to do. Roughly, there certainly is less bounce, it's less cushiony than a brand new pair. But it seems like it's still doing well, but it's difficult really to provide an estimate without wearing a brand new shoe right up against one of these. Something I'll certainly plan on doing in the future. But as we look at the wear on the outsides, you do see a lot of scuffing. Again, this is the Appalachian Trail we're running on, so we see a lot of rocks, a lot of roots, and oftentimes I'm scraping my shoe between rocks. So we tend to see a lot of wear there. And we can take the look at the left. But it's really at the toe where the damage really tends to occur. See the scuffing in there. We also have a bit of separation here of the kind of the outer of the insole. On the runners, we can see the same problems. We see a little breaking down here. This is getting a little much there. Toe, we have the same damage. You can see it's getting a little bit of separation there as well. And then some scuffing. But along the mid and the rear and the heel, it seems to be in pretty good shape. A A little bit of scuffing along here. And quite a bit of scuffing over here. And that's the left. Let's just take a quick look at the right so you can really get an idea of what kind of wear you might expect if you drop $145 or so to one of these pair of shoes. Let's take a look at the outsoles now. And the Hoka Speedgoat 4, of course, comes with the wonderful Vibram Mega Grip sole material. This rubber is fantastic. It's great for gripping wet rocks, so it's perfect for the Appalachian Trail, where we often get a lot of rain and we've often got a lot of rocks. I'd say the ability to hold wet rocks is still doing pretty well, but not 100%, but I would say maybe 80-85% at the low end. The lugs on these are 5mm lugs when they are purchased. I've measured along the center line here. They're ranging everywhere from about 2.5 at the toe, so about a 50% reduction in lug size at the toe. And then they're about 4 towards the back, in the mid area. When we move into the rear of the shoe, here these have really held up really quite well. Those lugs largely remaining at about 4mm. Here in the exposed EDA, you see a lot of scuffing in there, and I think this is completely unavoidable, especially on the Appalachian Trail, where oftentimes I've got my heel on a pointed rock and it's rotating, so there's going to be a lot of wear on the EVA material as that's so much softer. Same thing on the other pair, just to give you again a good idea. Lugs are still pretty good again, but they're anywhere between about 2.5 at the toe to about 4mm in this gray area in the forefoot. Again, the rear lugs are really doing quite well. I would say the average of about 4mm of the original 5mm. With the hikers, interestingly enough, even though these have done less running, more hiking, the wear is really about the same. The lug depth is about 2.5mm here, goes up to about 3.5 to 4mm there, and in the heel, it's still doing pretty well. Where I do feel the reduction in the size of the lugs in the forefoot is in wet ground. I'm really beginning to see a definite reduction in the ability to grip there. And there is finally the last of the 4 insoles, just to give you a full, complete picture of what kind of wear you might expect if indeed you decide to go with the Speedgoat 4 or Speedgoat 5. I assume the Speedgoat 5 will have the same Vibram Mega Grip sole. It's such a favorite of trail runners and performs so well. They would be crazy to change up the sole material, unless, of course, they come up with an Ultra Grip. So I hope you've enjoyed this wear review of the Speedgoat 4 x2. And the whole goal here is to give you some images to allow you to make a decision for yourself as how quickly you think these shoes are wearing. Again, I'm a heavier runner. I run on tough terrain, the Appalachian Trail, which is often rocky, and thus I would expect a higher degree of wear than probably the average user. If you're a 135-pound person running on buffed out trails, these shoes are going to last for a very long time, I would think. For me, I'm probably seeing maybe 250, 300 miles, and we'll let you know how these shoes are doing when we get there. All right, thank you for watching. And if you want to like and subscribe, of course, please do that. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.